Yeah, Victor, everybody's obviously still in shock after you can make a case the most heartbreaking loss in the history of the New Orleans Saints. We have Scott Shanle, and we, of course, have an old friend to our post-game show, Roman Harper, who always was a good friend when he played. He continues to be a good friend now as he is retired. How do you describe this game? You ever seen anything quite like this?
No, I have no words to say. Watching the play unfold, Williams was in great position. I assumed the Saints knew exactly what they were trying to force the Vikings to do, and they did a great job of that. It just, at the end of the day, the Vikings made the play, and the Saints did not.
Of course, you played the position of safety. You win some, you lose some. Marcus made a great play earlier in the game. Interception. It was a game-changing play. He's a young player, his first year in the league. I mean, if you're in his shoes right now, what do you think he's going through?
Well, I was in the locker room, and the thing that I loved the most was how emotional he was, the fact that it hurt him, and he didn't just wave it off like, oh, whatever. But when it hurts you that much, you're going to do something about it. You know, when tragedy happens, change comes out of it. And I can only see nothing but great things for this kid. He was lights out all year. He made a big play that got the Saints back into this game with that big interception in the third quarter. And now just looking forward, it's all about going forward for this team. It's a young team with a great young nucleus. And at the end of the day, you got to worry about some other things, Drew Brees, some other contract issues. But overall, you like the place, and you know, it's a trending up type franchise right now.
You and Scott obviously love being around this team, loving being around your former teammates. You were around this team at halftime. They were down 17-0. They hadn't converted a third down. Things were not looking good, but you said at halftime this team was real positive.
Yeah, they were in the locker room. They were going back and forth. Guys like Mark Ingram, Cam Jordan, telling each other we got each other's back. It was a family atmosphere, and you definitely felt the love in that, hey, look, they knew that they hadn't played their best ball and that their second half was all they needed, and the game was still tight. You score one touchdown, next you know, the Vikings have to change their outlook, and they just can't get what they want each play. And at the end of the day, you know, that's all that happened. They went out there, they played right through it, and they made plays down the stretch, and they gave themselves a chance to win. All they didn't do was finish.
Roman, you live in Charlotte, North Carolina. You saw the Saints team start off 0-2. Tough loss here in Minnesota, or really tougher loss against the New England Patriots. Then they bounced back. They win 8 straight games, beginning with the win at Carolina. I mean, how surprised were you with the way they turned it around and the way they made the playoffs and the way they fought all year?
Well, I was there at the Carolina game when after they started off losing, and then they came to Carolina and won their first game. And I was there. I saw it. There was the first game where all of a sudden I saw Sean Payton start to figure it out with the running game. Next thing you know, he's using Kamara. He's using Mark Ingram in different sections. And everything started to click offensively. And then next thing you know, defensively, they get a turnover too. And you catch lightning in a bottle sometimes, and then that's what happened. And you saw with this team, they were so confident, so young. And everybody wants to talk about experience all the time, but when you don't have it, sometimes that's a good thing too, because you don't know any better. If you're winning, you're used to winning in college, and then you come over to the NFL, and all you do is win, and next thing you know, that's the same thing that they did with a lot of these young players, and they depended on a lot of them. And you saw that tonight, and it's just unfortunately that the season ended the way it did, but this would be a great learning experience for this team, and guys have to get better. You won't be able to just repeat the success next year, and I think that's the biggest thing going to the offseason. Sean and those guys will have to talk about is that success isn't just guaranteed because we had a good season last year and we're young and everybody's telling us how great we are, but you got to continue to work on the little things that at the end of the game came back to haunt us, and we lost this game.
Yeah, I think to echo what Harp's saying, he hit it right on the head. The one thing you have to know about the NFL is you don't just pick up right where you left off, and I think that's the heartbreaking thing for me with this team. This team had the ability to go all the way, the talent, the heart, the belief to do it. I mean, you heard Harp talk about the way they were at halftime. They had every reason to hang their heads and came back and battled all the way to the end and should have won this game. The one thing, and I'm going to go back to it, you look at the Dallas Cowboys, just to compare. Last year, they're this young, upcoming team, and everybody expected them to be in the Super Bowl this year, and they didn't make the playoffs. So you have to be able to separate year by year, go back to the drawing board, start all over, prep, training, take care of your body. There's going to be new faces in the locker room, and that's the hardest thing about starting over every year in the NFL.
And you guys mentioned Drew Brees. I mean, you guys are out of the game. You played with him, and I know you have to be amazed at the level he continues to play, but you only get close so many times, and it has to be heartbreaking knowing how well he played that he comes up short too.
Yeah, and that's what I told you, Mike, when we sat down. When I think about Drew, that's the one guy I get emotional about, because the clock is ticking on everybody, and this team had the ability to do it. Drew played outstanding in the playoffs. The defense came along, after the first 4 games, started playing very well. They had a Super Bowl team here, and Drew is still playing at a level that he has ability to win a Super Bowl, but we've talked about before, Father Time's undefeated, and you don't know when it's going to happen, but it will happen no matter who you are, and you're just hoping that he can get another chance to get another ring to validate those stats. He's going to walk away from the game, all-time yardage leader, completion percentage. You hope he gets another ring to validate those stats.
Your thoughts on Drew Brees right now?
I love Drew. Same thing as Shanle says. It does get you emotional because you know the guy, you've been in the locker room, and you know how much an effort and time he puts into his, his craft every day when he's working at work. And hey, man, it was just a tough one. He didn't play well the first half, but he showed the grit to come out the second half and light it up, give his team a chance to win, and they had it. And like Shanle said, not only was this a Super Bowl team, but they had the quarterback to do it, not just the team, but the quarterback. Right. And that's the most pivotal position in this NFL, and is that quarterback. And he was the best quarterback left in this, and on this side of the playoffs. And it's just, hey, it happens. It's just a shame that it happened the way it did.
No doubt about it. Before we let you go, I know you're busy, father of 3 now.
Yeah.
I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I don't know if you want to be a coach or broadcaster. What's in the future for Roman Harper right now?
Well, my goal was I was going to take 365 days and do nothing. And
wow, I love that.
I'm getting close. My wife wants me out, so I got to start figuring out what I want to do. I think I would maybe like to attack this whole media thing for a little bit and get my feet wet a little bit of that. And then at the end of the day, I have a main goal. My main goal is down the line, I want to be a GM one day. I want to run my own team. Wow. So that's my far goal. But I want to do some other things first to kind of really help prep me and give me the whole surrounding of it. I've been in the locker room. I've been on the sidelines. If I can get on this side of it, learn from the media aspect of it, because the media plays a big part in our game. You have to know people on that side of it. And then I could go upstairs and probably run a team. And I think I could put a good roster together. I hire somebody like Shanle, too.
Exactly. I have faith in you. But you know what? You're always welcome here on CST Postgame. You're with us for years.
Thank you.
I know you're trying to catch a bus with the team, but I appreciate your time.
No. Thank you guys for having me. Roll Tide, Shanle. 17-time national championship. I'm not going to sit on this loss. I'm going to talk about my wins in my life, all right? So I'm not going to let you down. I'm sorry.
He'll get a Roll Tide. It doesn't matter what happens in a football game. Listen, that's the story here in Minneapolis. For now, we'll have Drew Brees, we'll have Deuce McAllister, and maybe a few more. We appreciate Roman Harper and Scott Shanle. For now, back to you guys.
Always great to have Roman join.